Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the top stories we have for you tonight. The violence continues as we have shootings on St. Croix and St. Thomas. Internal Revenue employees are arrested on St. Thomas, and President Obama endorses Governor John D. Young. These stories and more up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, at least one man was shot in the Garden Street area of St. Thomas early today. The incident happened around 9:30 a.m. this morning, and details are still sketchy. We will have more on that story tomorrow with Lee Carl. And there was a shooting in the State Grove area of St. Croix last night. News Channel 8's Wes Small has that story and an exclusive interview with a neighbor who heard at least 15 gunshots. Wes?
Thanks a lot, Jerome. We are in a State Grove place. And as the camera pans right over in that area, we are in the area of a video store there, Bad Company video store. It was around 10:30 last night. Neighbors said 15 shots rang out. We have one male individual, and he was hit 3 times. He was hit twice in his upper body, in the shoulder, and once in his leg. Let's go to Melody Rames, VIPD spokesperson, for more.
Police on St. Croix are investigating a non-fatal shooting that occurred at about 10:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 19th in a State Grove place. Police were alerted by 911 dispatchers of several calls of shots fired in a State Grove place and were subsequently notified of a wounded person being treated at the Governor Juan F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center. According to the initial police report, the 37-year-old male victim said that he was in the backyard of a relative's home when an unknown person came out of the bushes and began shooting at him. The victim was struck once in his left thigh, once in his upper left arm, and once in his lower left arm. He said that he didn't know who shot him and that he didn't have any idea who would want to shoot him. The case is being followed up by the Criminal Investigation Bureau, and detectives urge anyone who knows anything about this case to call the Criminal Investigation Bureau at 712-6077, 712-6037, or you can call Crime Stoppers USVI at 1-800-222-TIPS.
There are neighbors in this area that heard a lot of shots, and they were really shaking. Off camera. Let's go to one of those neighbors right now. All right, sweetheart. About what time is it, and what did you feel?
Maybe about 10:30, 10:35, and all of a sudden we just hear this barrage of gunshots, just like it wouldn't stop, you know?
Like automatic weapons?
Yes. And then I jumped up and said to my daughter, because she was in the house with me, I said, is that gunshot? She said, yes. So she jumped on her, because they live in the back of me. She called her kids to make sure everybody was safe. And then we called 911. And shortly after they came out. But I guess a lot of people call 911 because you can hear it.
And the ambulance and everything?
No, I didn't see any ambulance. I didn't see any ambulance, but I heard the fellow was shot and he was taken to the hospital by a private car.
A private car?
Yeah.
Well, thanks
so the police came and they were down there in the road. They found a lot of cases in the car. They had them marked out with the white things.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all be careful and be safe. Sorry it had to happen.
That is the first time I've ever heard such amount of a gunshot right next door to me. You know what over there?
It kind of scared you and your family.
What? I was shaking like a leaf, Wes.
Well, hopefully the VIPD could catch the culprits, okay?
So
and that individual will be all right. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Neighbors visibly shaken, that's for sure. 15 shots ringing out. One man hit at least 3 times. I'm Wes Small in the State Grove for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes. And in other news, President Barack Obama has officially endorsed Governor John D. Young. News Channel 8's Wes Small just got off the phone to the White House Communication Department. There's a quote from the President of the United States, Barack Obama. I am proud to stand with John and his running mate, Greg Francis, to support their campaign. And several employees of the Internal Revenue Bureau on St. Thomas are in trouble with the law this evening. News Channel 8's Lee Carl files this report.
A very hastily called press briefing today by the Attorney General brought us up to date on some rather interesting arrests that have been made regarding IRB and IRS. Denise Counts was here along with the investigator, along with Claudette Watson-Anderson of the IRB, but the Attorney General, Vincent Fraser, outlined these arrests that have taken place.
It took my investigators a long time because there were a lot of tedious work that went into the investigation and to provide the probable cause to believe and establish that a crime was in fact committed.
We procured 6 warrants for the arrest of six persons from the Superior Court. Those 6 persons, Tiffany Sutton, Colette Brown, Kimberly Sutton, Felipe Serrant, Robert Lattimore, and Errol Peterson. We were able to execute 5 of those warrants. 1 is still outstanding, and that's for Robert Lattimore. Now, those arrests that we made and the 6 warrants consist of criminal activity in 3 separate cases, 3 separate investigations and cases of fraud involving fraudulent tax returns as well as the fraudulent cashing of tax return checks.
Hey, Thomas, at the Attorney General's office, Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Lee Carl. And it's Wednesday. Time for your Crime Stoppers report. News Channel 8's Wes Small has that for us and a report on the political candidates that disturb the peace.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. It is Wednesday. Time to do Crime Stoppers. We need your help to solve gun crimes and burglaries throughout our territory. If you know something or see something, say something. Recently, the use of illegal guns and crimes of violence has resulted in police officers being shot at or even being shot. The police need your help to ID and arrest the criminals who are bringing these firearms into our territory and then selling it to our children so they can continue to slaughter each other. There's also been a rash of burglaries that are often directly or indirectly related to the sale of illegal drugs. Remember to report any suspicious vehicles or strange or suspicious people or activity in your neighborhood. Remember, folks, nearly all the homicide victims who have lost their lives in this record-breaking violent year have been young black men between the ages of 18 and 30. You know how many generations are being lost? A lot of these young black men already had little babies and children. But what about the ones that were going to have children and they were going to have children? It's an infinitive amount. You cannot come up with a solid figure of the generations of the lives that we are losing to the wanton violence in our territory. With that, that is your Crime Stoppers report. Now some information about this year's polling and the elections. Last night at around 15 minutes before 9 in front of my house, a candidate blaring with the loudspeaker, playing music, push a certain number. And I almost called 911, but I wasn't sure of the law. Right now, I have Thomas Hanna at Crime Stoppers investigating, and also I've left a call to the Board of Elections, John Abramson Jr. So far, we believe that 7 o'clock at night, especially on the weeknight, is the cutoff point. If a candidate has obtained speakers to put on their cars, that's fine. But I find it's total disrespect to come in front of someone's neighborhood at 15 minutes before 9 on a weeknight after you've worked all day. Remember, these candidates never came to my house all throughout this period of time. But 2 weeks before the election, you would take it upon yourself to remind me to push a certain number at 15 minutes before 9 on a weeknight. You know, it was a toss-up who I was going to vote for before. But after last night, I've made up my mind. I'm not going to vote for that candidate that stopped in front of my house. How do you feel? That's your Crime Stoppers report and a little extra. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes. And first of all, for pollsters, you must have a permit to do so and abide by the noise pollution restrictions. The law is very clear. The noise must not exceed the volume on the television set you normally watch. Therefore, if you hear politicians invading your privacy, especially at night during the weekday with their loudspeakers, you can call the police department and report it. Stay with us on Channel 8 News. We'll be right back.